We'll call this meeting to order. Whereas there is a quorum of council present, time is 6:30 p.m. Be it resolved that this regular meeting be open for business and that the minutes of the regular meeting of January 8th, 2025 be approved. Could I have a mover for that? Councillor Hobbs, second. Councillor Crabbe. All in favor? Carried. We begin this meeting by acknowledging that we are in land that has been inhabited by Anishinaabe nations. We would like to acknowledge that the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Sagamok Anishinaabe, and we would like to give thanks for sharing this land. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest? None being heard. We have a delegation, Massey Area Museum. Come on up, fellas.
Okay. Thank you very much, Worshipful Mayor, distinguished councillors. Most people know me, but I'm Tom Sturdy. Brief history. I'm a past president of what they refer to as the old Massey Museum. I was chair of the new building committee of the new museum, and I'm presently an honorary director of the new museum. And we're here tonight because when I moved back to Massey, the board invited me to attend one of their meetings, the monthly meetings. I was very honored to do that. After listening to it, they asked me for some words of advice and wisdom. So I said, okay, let's take your most important problem and let's tackle that. And that was finances. And then they informed me that there was no audit done for the years of 2022 and 2023, no financial audit. The museum's a non-profit organization, and we operate on grants. And these grant applications generally require a financial audit to accompany the grants. So I did some research, and those were COVID years, and I guess pretty lean years. And so I contacted the last auditor, which was Friedland Caldwell. And I know George Caldwell very well. I called him. He said, Tom, I'm going to put you in contact with Mr. Hoole. He set up a date. The treasurer and I went and we met with Mr. Hoole. And he explained to me that in 2022 and 2023, the museum did not invite them to quote for various reasons he didn't say. So that's where no audits were done. They assumed that the museum had gone to get some other quotes. So I said, okay, what do we do? So he gave me a bunch of recommendations. One of the recommendations he strongly recommended when they used to do the audit for the town, they used to audit the museum's books. That's way back when Freeland Caldwell was doing the books for the township and the town. And he said, my recommendation is you approach council and see if their present auditor would audit the museum's books. He said, because he was connected with Massey and George was connected with Massey, they were always giving Massey Museum what he called a preferred rate, which is a rate that he knew the museum could handle. He said, that was my first and foremost recommendation, to see whether the council, A, would consider using the auditor, and then B, give us a price. I've been approached by 2 or 3 people from town who want to help with the audits. Their first question is, how much is it? We don't know. So this is where we stand right now. We don't know. We do have other options, but we're going with Kirby's first offer. See whether the council can do something with their auditor and give us a quote on how much it was going to cost. So we're looking at 2023, 2022, and actually 2024, basically.
Okay.
I do have a complete thing that I submitted to the museum board report, and I can leave a copy with that. It goes into quite detail of what Mr. Hool also recommends and everything, but I can leave that with you to peruse at some other day. But the meeting this evening is those 2 basic questions.
Okay.
I believe it's Baker Tilly that you used. With the council recommendation, would the Baker Tilly want to do it? And if so, what would be the price to the museum?
Well, we would have to consult Baker Tilly.
That's right.
And I mean.
But I just want to, sorry to interrupt, but the township has never paid for the museum's audit.
No.
And they've been,
No.
and you can go to any auditor you want.
That's right.
So I don't, like, council doesn't really have the authority to give permission. I mean, that's entirely up to the auditor whether they want to take you on or not. So I'm not quite sure what.
Well, if you read Mr. Hool's definition of why he strongly suggests that the council is involved with it, it's quite enlightening that, because he did review the museum board for many, many years. And because we're tied to the township, I guess Freeland Caldwell was giving the museum that preferred rate because of the township marriage sort of, and anyways, this is.
I think I understand.
Yeah.
Because there are auditors.
Yeah.
Would you consider auditing the museum at a preferred price because you're already auditing the township?
Yeah, like he said, they already do 9 cemeteries. He went on, he had a list.
Well, and they do the library.
The library, and he said it only makes sense that the museum be part of it. Now, he did say that when there was a split from Freeland Caldwell to Baker Tilly, the museum didn't come on board because they were getting that preferred rate, which is quite a good rate. And if they had continued, we wouldn't be here today, but in 2022, 2023, that was,
Okay.
and Mr. Hool did say that it could be possible that they take us on again, but he said, you won't get that.
Well, no, not as a standalone.
No.
Well, they are standalone.
They're not tied to our financials in any
No.
way.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So, I mean, if they did that, that was nice of them to do.
Yes.
Yeah, I think now the situation is that you should be reaching out to Baker Tilly.
Yeah,
And say,
and this is
I
where-
don't think it's our place to reach out to Baker Tilly to say,
Mhm.
it's up to you to reach out to Baker Tilly and say, would you consider, a preferred rate since
Mhm.
you're already doing the audit at the township, you're already doing the audit at the library. I mean, that's all you can
Yeah,
ask for.
and that's all we had to do tonight, is to just,
Okay,
for your wisdom as to which direction we follow.
well, I think that's,
Sure.
any comments from council?
No,
Okay, I think that's pretty straightforward.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, reach out to Baker Tilly, and I mean, if they're gonna be in Massey for X amount of days doing the other audits, then that's
Mhm.
to your advantage for a rate.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, that's perfect. That's what we need to do for tonight.
good.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Tom.
Have a good evening.
You as well. Thanks for coming out.
Good luck. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Okay, the Phenom Conference being held Federation of Ontario, Northern Ontario Municipalities Conference to be held in North Bay, May 5th to 7th, 2025. Anybody interested in going?
I'd like to attend.
Mike?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, Tama?
I'd like to attend the 3 days, like it's just too far to go, like.
Oh, no.
Yeah, back and forth.
Yeah, good. You got the opportunity to go. It's a good experience. So, Mike and Tama?
Sure.
Great. Tama, same thing all 3 days? Okay. So, be it resolved that the following be authorized to attend the Phenom Conference to be held in North Bay, May 5th to 7th, 2025, with expenses being paid. Councillor Mike Merchika. Councillor Tom Krabs. Could I have a mover? Councillor Hobbs. Second. Councillor Burns. All in favor? Carried. Very good. Good experience.
It is good that somebody can go.
Yeah.
We're being
Yes.
noticed at least.
Yeah.
Okay, elections. 2026 municipal and school board elections.
So last election, we used the internet and telephone voting system. And I did provide the results of the last few elections, which it really didn't hurt. It didn't significantly improve. The advantage was that we had those results within, less than an hour after the close of polls. So it is a long day for staff when we're counting ballots and accuracy, So again, area municipalities, Huron Shores, Wine River, ourselves, Baldwin, Elliott Lake are looking at, it's being pitched to those individual councils that we would be able to come together for an RFP, get better pricing. I think we saved 25% last election by pooling.
Wow.
And even though we each had our own contract, it was that bulk pricing. So I'd like to do that again in 2026 if council is agreeable.
So be it resolved, excuse me, be it resolved that council of the Township Sables-Spanish Rivers hereby received the report 2026 municipal and school board elections, and that council approve internet voting as an alternative voting method for the 2026 municipal and school board election. And further that staff be directed to bring a bylaw forward to council to establish alternative voting methods and to permit advance voting as per the Municipal Elections Act 1996, once an elections vendor has been chosen. Could I have a mover for that? Councillor Krabs, second. Councillor Hobbs. Any discussion?
How do we handle people that don't have a computer or not?
So we had about 4 laptops set up here at the office. They were able to go to the library as well. So anybody that came in, we set them up. If they had trouble, with the mouse and that, we're taking an oath of secrecy, so we would assist them to go through. And it's surprising, very few people needed assistance. Like some said, well, I don't know what to do. And then they sat down and when you went back to help them, they were done, so it went really well. I think any of the glitches we had were with the telephone voting because they had to listen. We had such a list of candidates. They had to listen to all those and then make their selection based on what number that one was. So like you had to listen to, I think, 12 names, and then remember which one was, you know, John Smith that I wanted to vote for. So it was a little more of a challenge, and I think a couple of people got cut. They made a selection and then it kicked them out, and then they couldn't finish voting for the next seat like they did the mayor, and then it didn't let them vote for council. So we're not proposing to do the telephone, it'd be just the internet, and we didn't have any issues with that. Really. And what was also nice is that during the election, because it's 24/7 that you're voting, once we can start, the earliest we can start, which was I think 2 weeks before voting day, election day, it's open 24/7. But then at any time I could go in and I could get stats on the age group. Not, you don't see who has voted, but you can kind of get that, you know, people from 18 to 25, you know, this is how many people have voted, and people in this the next category. And it was really interesting to see the people that always vote, your age, you know, 40 or 50, whatever, to 65, those numbers didn't change. That's the bulk of our people that come out to vote. Those are still the ones that voted, even though it was internet. And then I don't know that we engaged younger people that we were hoping to, but I think that no matter what type of voting you have, younger people, I don't think have the interest that, you know, people our age are, you know, the importance of not going out.
Well, I think our numbers improved too from the previous
Well,
election.
31 to 33%. I mean, it's not a whole lot,
Well,
but
every
you know,
little bit counts if you can.
yeah, it'd be nice if those numbers were up around the 40%, but, you know.
Were a lot of issues raised about people having transportation problems coming into?
No.
Well, it wouldn't be any different than having to go to the polls.
No, it
Honestly,
wasn't, and you
I
had
think-
more time that you could
That's
do
right.
that one.
And like, people could come here any day of the week that we were open, and we would assist them. And then election day, we had them set up, so anybody that came in, people that, you know, didn't get a voter card, we were able to, right on the fly, we could go and add them, print out their, because they had a PIN that they would have to enter and verify. So it was really efficient that way, yeah. And I was able to really clean up the voters list ahead of time, people that had passed away, that didn't live here anymore. We'll see what it's like with Elections Ontario taking over the voter list and how much, how many errors are on. You know, it's moved from, it's not an impact anymore, Elections Ontario.
Well, in fact, there was a lot of glitches there. You had a lot of people on the voters list.
Well,
that
apparently they had two databases, one for elections and one for property owners, which the two did not align, you know, so, yeah.
Councillor Grant?
Okay, and we had these stations in Walford and Webwood as well as Massey?
No, because there's no internet in Walford, so we couldn't offer
So
that
just-
service there. So, but this office here, we've had this little station set up with the little cardboard, so
And
we let privacy.
both libraries.
And both libraries, you could go attend when they were open. And, you know, pretty much anybody that, if you needed help or were unsure, you were best to come here. I mean, I didn't expect the library to have to walk people through it because, not that it was complicated, but, you know, that's our job to do, right? So if people were comfortable but they didn't have a computer, they could go to the library and enter their.
There were no complaints from the library staff.
No.
So.
I was just gonna ask if there was any way, pulling from the data, if there was more engagement from property owners who lived outside of the township that normally wouldn't come in a paper ballot?
I did have someone who happened to be overseas
Okay,
at the time and wanted to vote, and they were able to because I was able to email them their PIN, like their letter, so they could log on and vote. And then even a gentleman who was here earlier, who lived in Winnipeg at the time, was able to vote from there. So normally you would, if you're not here, you can't vote.
It's,
And even within our township got a large geographic area, the weather's bad, you know, that's gonna deter people from getting on the road and, I mean, we don't get 6 feet of snow in October, but
hopefully not.
nonetheless. yeah. Any other questions or comments?
No.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Carried.
Thank you.
Very good. We have a request for a library board appointment. Be it resolved that Denise Treneman be appointed to the library board for the remainder of this term. Could I have a mover? Councillor Hobbs. Second, Councillor Krabs. Any comments from anyone? I'd just like to say that Ms. Treneman has been an exemplary board member from 2019 on. Took a small leave of absence, and her participation will be welcome. So, all in favor? Carried. Okay, discussion, Christian Heritage Month. Mike, would you
Sure,
like to,
Sure. So I brought this forward as I've been asked by a few ratepayers to have some recognition for our Christian community. So just to promote the awareness of, Christians, Canadian Christians and heritage and the impacts and the values, laws, and institutions. There are 45,000 Christian denominations worldwide. Their influence on laws has influence on legal codes, human rights, charity, and social welfare. Influence on, values of promoting compassion and empathy, family and marriage, and shared societal values. There's also impacts on institutions, the politics, governance, arts, and culture. And I think we really need to recognize that. It's, it's one of the most, the month was one of the significant holy day of Christmas. And, I just find we're in a time right now where, some people are offended by saying Merry Christmas when we have to substitute Happy Holidays. We don't do that with other religions and faiths. So I think it's time that we acknowledge Christian Heritage Month for December. And plenty of other communities are following. West Gwillimbury, Toronto just adopted that in November of 2024. There's 35 plus municipalities on board. It's the email I had sent out, which everybody got the links to those. So, yeah.
Thank you, Mike. Any comments from anyone else?
Is this a month long, a week long, or is it?
1 month.
Yeah, month of December.
Yeah.
And I have no problem with it, but I remember back 2 years ago when you didn't want to recognize Pride. Now, I'm not Pride, but we represent everybody in the township, and I'm sure there is some.
Yeah.
And they want to fly the flag. So if I vote to recognize Christian heritage, will you recognize Pride flag?
So it wasn't me. It wasn't
You
mine.
brought it forward.
Yes, I did bring it forward, as we bring forward things from all ratepayers, right? This I brought forward because it was brought to me. It's not, I don't come here with my personal agenda. Do I recognize that there's Pride Month? Absolutely. It's there. We all know it. It's in plenty of communities. It's not my decision on whether we don't have Pride Month or not. So when I bring things to the table here, it's not my personal agenda. Does that answer your question, or?
You wanted to.
Again, I'll correct you. I didn't
Change the
want
flag
to.
policy, and that never happened.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if we support this, will you support that? And
I'm
will you
not-
support Alzheimer's flag? And
It doesn't matter who I support, Councillor Burns. I bring stuff to the table that people want to discuss. So
okay,
I brought this.
I'm
forward.
just saying, I'm here to represent everybody, so
Yeah,
I will
same.
try to do that to the best of my
Perfect.
abilities.
Perfect. Appreciate that.
Our goal is to be inclusive of everyone.
Definitely.
And I understand, our location, we are predominantly Christian in our township. Any other comments, Councillor Krabs?
I would like to see it, we're not that we're getting put back on the back burner, but don't seem to be as recognized. So it's just to inform.
Councillor Hobbs?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I have no issue with, with doing this. One of the resolutions, I forget which one, I thought the wording, I wasn't, too happy with. Well, I shouldn't say not too happy with, but I just want, because we have this history with, residential schools.
Oh, okay.
They were established by government, but they were run by different denominations.
Yeah.
So the only thing that I want to make sure with, when we pass our resolution, that there's sensitivity to that, I guess.
I'm not,
Yeah, but
I'm not sure how we could word that.
No. well, there's just one resolution, I forget which one, and it just seemed, like, I don't know.
Well,
We did all this good,
so I see
But,
some consensus
know,
here.
yeah.
Can we agree that we'll, we can agree that we'll recognize this, but we can work on,
Yeah.
Specific
Maybe my
resolution?
recommendation to do it the last meeting in November, to declare
Just
December
before
as that work.
December.
Because I didn't, so I didn't, thought it was kind of a little too soon to declare now for December.
is everybody okay with that? Okay, sounds good. Any other comments? Okay. Moving on, we have Alzheimer's Awareness Month.
That's it.
Yeah. Be it resolved that the Township of Sables-Spanish Rivers declares January 2025 as Alzheimer's Awareness Month, and further that this proclamation shall serve as a testament to our municipality's commitment to raising awareness and fostering understanding about Alzheimer's disease. Could I have a mover on that? Councilor Burns, second. Councilor Krebs. Any discussion on that?
Yeah, it's important to recognize, I mean, there's 770,000 people in Canada living with Alzheimer's. And 76,000 new cases every year.
Yeah.
So, you know, we get more education on it, people may possibly see the signs and symptoms earlier, which, you know, could move toward better treatment outcomes, so absolutely.
My father had Alzheimer's,
Yeah.
and it's not something that you want to do.
No, no. I don't think there's a family that can say they haven't been touched by Alzheimer's or dementia. It touches us all. And it will continue, you know, we're an aging population.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All in favor? Carried. Yeah.
I can give a little bit of background on the building inspector internship program. So Municipal Affairs and Housing has recognized that there is a shortage of building inspectors within the province. And previously, you would have had to have had the courses to be hired to work as an inspector. So what they've done is they've taken that requirement away. You can hire anybody that's interested, and then they're mentored by your CBO, and they train and they take their courses during their course of employment. So it's to take 18 months before they would be up to where they could actually be doing inspections on their own. There's additional courses that they would have to take to become a CBO, but at least they can get the inspector's status. So this is something I'd like to see implemented. What I'd like to do if council's in agreement and we create the job description and the policy, which I've got samples, there's other municipalities that have done this, and I reached out to Pickering and another one in Southern Ontario that has the program. They were very generous with sharing their policies, their job descriptions, and everything, you know, so it's a matter of just tweaking it to match our municipality. And then when that has been established, then I'd like council's approval to apply for an NOHFC funding to offset some of the wages. So if we put this in, because this will become our employee group, but at least for the first year, we could get some subsidy on wages for that, so.
So be it resolved that the Council of Township Sables-Spanish Rivers establish an intern program for inspectors, for building inspectors, and that the clerk be directed to create a policy and job description for a building inspector intern in consultation with the chief building officer. Could I have a mover on that? Councilor Krabs and Councilor Hobbs. Any discussion, folks?
Does he have to have any background in carpentry?
I mean, once we advertise and, I mean, an interview, I mean, that would be a bonus for them to have some kind of a clue on how things are constructed, so, but it's not required, but like any job that you're trying to fill, you want the person that's got the most qualifications, right? It'll just make it a lot easier for them to, when they start taking these courses, that they have an understanding of how things are constructed, and, I mean, you know, like, they would start with simple things like decks and sheds and garages, but, because there's other courses they have to take to start inspecting how, like residential units and commercial, that's a whole other part of it, but, yeah, I would think that you would want somebody who's,
I would think, yeah.
Is there any plan or anything to cover part or cover training costs for these people? Because did you have to take some courses, 18 months worth of them? I mean, I'm not saying that you should or
I
should.
think, so, yeah, but as employer, we would be paying for them to take those courses. I mean, you run the risk like anything, where you train people that once they've got all their certification, that they leave, but hopefully we would get somebody who's from the area and plans to stay. You know, and so where would they go, right, if it's a job right here?
Yeah.
And, you know, it'd be nice, like, if once this, and if it works out and we have someone that, you know, Spanish doesn't have an inspector right now, so it's somebody, like, we're already doing Nairn and Baldwin with shared services, you know, there's the opportunity to maybe pick up Spanish as well, so that we get some revenue that offsets those wages, and takes the burden off of our one person that's doing this whole area.
Would there be any opportunity in the contract to, as part of the training, you're paying for the training, that they'd have to be obligated to spend 2 or 3 or 5 years even with the township?
And different ones have done,
Okay.
I mean, it's like anything.
Yeah.
You can put that in the contract how you want, but, if they leave, they leave, right? There's really not a lot you can do other than, you know.
Well, plus,
But, you know.
if our, you know, we're only using our chief building inspector for 3 days. So would we be able to offer this intern, like, once he's done and certified, how much would we be able to offer him? That's the other
Well,
question.
I would think, this would be a full-time position, and it would continue, because they would be working here, or they might be working, you know, when he's on vacation, that there's gotta be somebody that covers, right? So I mean, it's really hard for one person to do the job. You
Well,
could certainly say that, yeah, that you're gonna have a commitment of X number of years.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's always that sort of penalty clause, I mean, there's always wages that you can withhold.
And if there's development coming,
Well,
you know,
that's right.
Just
then there
about to
will be,
yeah.
there would be some work.
If we have some growth, yes.
So
Councilor,
this could be a shared position between Baldwin and there and us?
Well, we already contract out our building inspector services, so whether or not it's our CBO or an inspector that we have, that doesn't matter, we're providing that service to them already, so this would be, you know,
So it's the same as what we got.
but just 2 people available rather than only 1 person, so,
well, and could we pass on some costs there?
well, probably.
Yeah.
Just tell them, well, you know, we have more people now, you know, you're gonna get things done quicker.
Mhm.
Yeah, you know, I think it's a good idea.
In the
Yeah.
contract too, if you want to say that they have to stay for X amount period of time, you could have a clause in there too that says if they don't, then they would be subject to reimburse the township
Yes.
for a portion of their training costs.
We could work
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a common thing, yeah.
I did that with,
Yeah.
a current employee
Learn and
that,
stay, they call it, learn and stay, and it's getting broad attention all over now for colleges and universities, it's like retention, so. Well, with that, all in favor?
Yeah.
Very, very good. Lacloche OPP Board, November. Be it resolved, the minutes of the Lacloche OPP Board of November 28th, 2024 be accepted, and that the Township of Sables-Spanish River's apportionment of $10,430 be included in the 2025 municipal budget. Could I have a mover for that? Councillor Hobbs, second. Councillor Burns. Questions? I have a question. I'm looking at the administrative cost there, 10,000.
Yeah.
For 6 meetings, and it's like, you know where that number, you're our rep.
Yeah, no.
You're the reps there.
There's a lot of, behind the scenes before the meeting prep,
Okay.
and there's a lot of work right now, especially in getting things established and going.
Okay,
So, yeah, that's where we're at right now,
okay,
and, yeah,
because it's itemized.
Yeah.
Executive
Mhm.
assistant services, 10,000, 10 hours per month. Oh, it's an,
Yeah.
it's an annual.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's-
It's not 10 grand a month, it's,
Well, I was
yeah.
gonna say, $1,000.
Yeah, no, no.
$1,000 an hour.
No, no,
Good job.
Yeah, we all have that job.
It's more like,
he's
it's more
very
like,
good, but,
it's more like $100 an hour.
yeah,
Yeah. All right, I had to ask the question.
yeah.
Any other questions? All in favor? Carried. Moving on, Parks and Recreation meeting report. Be it resolved that the minutes of the Parks and Recreation Committee of January 15th, 2025 be accepted. Can I have a mover on that? Councilor Machika, second. Councilor Krebs. Any comments?
Yeah, we're still looking for volunteers.
For the
We could use
carnival?
more hands, yeah, with the carnival for sure, and hoping the weather's favorable come February. If it is better conditions, then we could look at snow sculptures and et
Things are
cetera.
looking more wintry than last
Yeah.
winter,
Yeah.
so it's like,
Yeah, she was able to have the snow machine,
Mhm.
what you call, yeah, so,
what's that?
what is it called?
It's more kind of vintage,
Yeah.
snow machine.
Show and shine?
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so,
Yeah. Well, questions on the Vikings, again, maybe there's the opportunity that they'll play here next year. Again, it was kind of odd that we became a first-class sponsor, contributed $2,500, and then a month later, the team folded, but I think some of that was out of the owner's hands there, so.
yeah, definitely.
I guess all we can do is hope that they're back next fall, so. Any other comments on the minutes?
Mike, for anybody has any questions about the carnival, and, because there was a question that came up today at the Legion, that one of them, there's talk of a euchre.
Yes, I think they were looking for a volunteer for that one. I don't
Yeah.
think anybody's taking that one
And
on.
they were wondering if it had to be held at the arena or something. I kind of said that Lori, I think, is organizing this, if that's who I should direct them to.
I think, direct any questions to Lori, and I think she is looking at
Yeah.
doing it at the arena, but.
They're trying to keep everything,
Yeah.
the tumblers are in, they're super cute.
Good.
Well, yes, yeah. Push those.
Some upcoming events as well, the Bedauben School Annual Tournament, that's a big deal. Right?
Yeah.
The high school kids love that tournament. And again, it's Infest.
That's coming back.
Yeah, that's coming back.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. All right, all in favor? Carried. Okay, we have a consent application.
So this, we deferred our decision from November, and they've met the conditions. They've identified or qualified the reasons for being deferred, but we want to be sure that they could, defer to be sure that they could, it would support a residential unit and septic,
Yes, the septic was the big,
and that the lot area was sufficient for building envelope. So the surveyor came back, confirmed the size of the property, and that the well and septic would
perfect,
be supported.
perfect. Glad that we can accommodate Mr. Presso. Be it resolved that consent application file number C-24-021 as applied for by Richard Presso be provisionally approved this 22nd day of January 2025. The land and subject application is composed of land in the township of Salter, broken front concession, part lot 4, parcel 6240 and 6561, SEC, SWS. The purpose of this consent is to allow for one new lot in the rural zone. It is hereby provisionally approved with the schedule of conditions attached here to. Could I have a mover on that? Councillor Burns, second. Councillor Krabs. Any discussion? Any concerns? All in favor? Carried. All right. That's it. I got a few things. At the end of the meeting, I always ask around the table any concerns. That's fine for discussion, but I mean, if we want action on our discussion, so, a letter sent, something like that, the best way to do it would be to add it as an item to the next agenda. Or before the agenda comes out. Because to just have discussion right then and there and fire off a bunch of requests to the clerk all at once is just, sometimes it doesn't get done properly. So it's like, if we could all keep that in mind. So, I made a visit to our new dentistry in town. Beautiful, first class dentistry, 4 chairs, X-ray machine, it's beautiful. It's like I haven't seen anything better anywhere else. So a big welcome to Dr. Matt to our town. Well, and for all those that are watching us or listening to us, we did have a meeting with Minister Thompson last month, and which was by all means a huge success. Council agreed on that. Lo and behold, Minister Thompson mentioned us at a provincial conference, mentioned Mayor Burke and Council and her discussions with us in with regard to our challenges for building infrastructure and promoting growth, which was followed up by an announcement of 20 million more from the province, not to us specifically, but it's out there. And then another follow-up letter acknowledging us and urging us to work with them. So those are all really good signs for our township, and I expect things. So around the table before we finish.
Again, volunteers for the winter carnival,
Okay.
participants for the talent show.
Okay,
Yeah,
participants.
yeah,
I thought I might be a spectator.
yeah.
participant.
Well, you can be a spectator.
Bring my karaoke machine. Anyone else? Anything? Council rooms?
When you were in the dentist office, did they say when they were gonna be open?
They're open.
They're open?
They're open.
Monday.
Actually, it was funny. Amanda and I attended and the dentist's fiance had contacted her that it was a grand opening. We got there.
Soft opening, yeah.
Soft opening. We got there, nobody knew what we were doing there, so.
Well, the reason I asked is I called that number that's on the Massey Dental thing.
Oh, is that
And I
right?
got voicemail and it said we're not open.
Oh, that's odd, because Cameron Ogden, from our Public Works Committee was there. He had just had an appointment, so that's
I
kind
guess
of
I'll
odd.
stop in tomorrow.
They're Yeah.
closed after 6, eh? Don't call after 6.
No, but it was,
I'm just
o'clock.
kidding.
Yeah, no, as far as I know, they're
I left a
open.
message and they said they'd get back to me. And that's what the voicemail said, the message.
Oh,
I assumed that they were still closed.
Well, if he's watching, he'll get back to you now.
I haven't got a call back.
anyway, really nice to see professionals returning to our townships.
Yeah.
Very encouraging. So. Anyone else, anything?
I do actually, so at one of these talks, Councilor Hobbs had brought up about this for cell service.
Oh, yes.
So I did send letters to both Bell and Rogers. I actually got a call from Rogers today.
Okay.
He had received my letter, and so he advised that there are 3 Rogers towers in the area. One to the east, about 5 kilometers, one to the west, 10 kilometers, and south, 7 kilometers. So I would assume that one's on Saginaw First Nation. And that one, in the next few months, will be getting 5G. So anybody who's a Rogers customer should see better service within the next few months. I had also emailed Carol Hughes when I had sent my letters, sent copies of my letters to her. And she certainly agrees with our efforts in asking companies, because she's experienced it here as well. And she is going to also write to the Minister of Canadian Heritage and to the Minister of Rural Economic Development, as well as the CRTC, to get support for our concerns. And she's given me a link that we can also file a complaint with the CRTC about the service. So hopefully we actually get to, I was shocked to actually get some response.
Thanks for writing us.
But that's one of those things that, was done here, and then it's like, oh, I forgot, because it's not
Yeah.
a resolution, right? So,
Now, I mean, it is a federal jurisdiction,
yes,
but there are also some provincial domains where we can make requests. So I would seriously consider Minister of Northern Affairs of Rickford.
Yeah.
And again, Minister Lisa Thompson. I
Yeah.
think maybe we should, send a letter if we can.
sure. I mean, there's such a shift from landlines to cell,
Well,
they've
there-
got to do something, because people, they're.
Yeah, I get a message on my cell phone and I call everybody on my landline and
Well, what was really funny, the guy from Rogers, he must have had like a VoIP phone, like a
Oh,
internet
yeah,
phone,
okay.
because I couldn't understand him. He kept cutting out, I could not, he had to call back on another line.
Case in point, there you go.
welcome to Northern Ontario.
So I said, well, it's snowing out, maybe that's why I can't hear you.
All right, be it resolved that bylaw 2025-07, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the regular council meeting of January 22nd, 2025, you read a first, second, third, and final time, and passed in council. Could I have a mover to that? Councillor Hobbs, second. Councillor Burns, all in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that the time is 7:18 PM, and that this meeting be adjourned until the next regular meeting or call of the chair. Could I have a mover? Councillor Grass, second. Councillor Burns, or Hobbs, sorry. All in favor? Carried. Thanks, everyone.
Good night.
Thanks.
I just wanted to see whose job it was.